Here's a quick little overview of how this system is going to work, at least for now. So the first thing we do, you notice I've just got everything clean here, nothing running. Come down to the OBS icon, this one right here. Single click on it. You have this window pop up. It's running a script. And the first thing we need to do is check that the USB is connected between the mixer and the PC and that it is being recognized. Now, right now, it's not on, so this is what it should not look like. It should look like this. It should show you the name of the mixer in here. We're going to pretend for now that it is indeed connected and that the PC is recognizing it. But you wouldn't do that in the real world, in the real life example. So I click on yes. Now it's going to go through launching a series of things. We're just going to sit back, let it do its thing. So you can see right now it's launching the on board. It launches the receiver, and there it is telling me that it made the connection and letting me know that the live stream setup is ready. And you can see over here on the right, this is the Stream Deck. This is basically our remote control. So if it doesn't automatically connect, you'll want to come over here and click on Connect, and it'll take you to the first screen. And in the first screen, we'll go to the splash screen. And this is just what's going to be showing to the viewers at home while they wait for the service to start. The date will be updated each week. That'll be accurate each time. You don't have to update that yourself. It'll be taken care of. And then when we're ready, we'll hit start recording. There we go. And you can see this turns red to let you know it's actually working. But more importantly, look down here in OBS, because that is the official one. This is my script checking that, but this is the one that really is important. This is just a helpful thing. Then start streaming. And I'm going to click on it now. Is that not actually going to stream? Well, it actually is streaming. It's just YouTube isn't waiting for anything because it's not set up right now to be able to do it. But on Sunday morning, YouTube will be basically in the ready to receive state. And then when I hit start streaming, this turns green. Let me know it's live. And down here, boom, you can see it's live there. Now, we go through here. And basically at this point, we're just waiting for the service to start. And when the organist starts playing, we'll go to opening voluntary, and it will go through this video montage. And it's a fairly long one, so it should last for any voluntary. If it does run out of video, well, that's what the clean shot is for. And there we go. And so we just get a nice wide shot. That's the default. When it starts up, it selects the wide shot. You can always select the wide shot on your own by clicking here. And you can also use the clean shot anytime you want to get rid of any graphics on the screen. So let's go back to the opening voluntary. So we got this video going. Let's say George is playing, and then he's done playing, shortest voluntary ever. And we go to welcome. Now, right now, this is just a wide shot because the priests haven't really decided where they're going to be for this portion. They keep changing from week to week. So I just have a wide shot. They welcome everybody. Maybe. Some weeks they forget. And then we go to the opening hymn. Now what this does is this reads from some files to put the title and the lyrics up on the screen. You'll notice the background got a little blurry and a little bit darker. That's just to make the words pop out more and so that you can read them. Um, it helps kind of blur in the background to keep the distraction of people moving so you can actually see the words better. Now, there's two ways of going to the next part of the lyrics for this. So we got the title, what comes up first with the hymn number and the title of the hymn. If I click here on next slide, it will take me to verse number 1. Now I just follow along on my bulletin until they get to verse number 2. Click again, I'm in verse number 2. Click again, I'm at verse number 3. Click again, verse number 4, and again, I'm at 5. And I think this one only has 5. So what happens if I click again? It recycles back to the beginning. Try not to do that, but if it does, that's not the worst thing that could happen is that we see this. If you get lost or you click too many times, you can do previous slide to go back. So you can go back and forth with either direction. And this is just basically a slideshow, a lot like PowerPoint would be. The second way you can go back and forth with the slides is using the plus and minus sign on the numeric pad. That if you prefer a physical tactile touch, which I actually do, that's how you can do it. Or you can use the buttons on the screen. Either way works, and feel free to use whichever method you prefer. So once that is done, you will have the acclamation and prayer. Now, any of these buttons over here that have a white background don't do anything other than they will pop up instructions. And this says, choose which side the speaker is on. Just to remind you in case you forget. Oops, get that back there. Now, they may be over on the left, which is what this is. This will clear off the graphics. And I'll take it over to the chancel shot. Or could be over on the right, which is the equivalent, which is this preset right here. Or they could be somewhere else. And if they go somewhere else and neither left nor right work, you can come over here and always pick your shot, just like before. These are always valid, these 9 right here. You don't have to use this. What this remote does is it helps take care of all that other stuff and makes it a little more predictable. But when someone does something different, whether they change their mind where they want to stand, or it's something special for this week, or you got a guest speaker, or just forget where to stand, then you can always follow them this way. So let's go back over here to the left. And you can generally tell just by watching their body language of who's about to speak, whether it's Elisa over on the left or Tom on the right. So let's say Mother Lisa is doing the acclamation and prayer. Now would be a good time to play her name card. Click on her name tag, and boom, there's her name card will come up right there. And it'll go away. There we are. And let's say for sermon, when Tom's doing it, click Tom. Now these name cards can be called at any time, and they just overlay whatever shot you have. And to show you what I mean, I'll use one that doesn't make sense. Nicene Creed. See, there's the name card going over top of it. You obviously wouldn't want to do that, but just to show that it is what's known as downstream. So it's after all of that, and it can just be tacked on top of whatever scene is going. So we go to the Song of Praise. Same sort of deal. We pull out to a wide shot so we can see the congregation. We go through slides, and then when we are Done with that, there's going to be a prayer, probably the same place over here on the left as the Acclamation and Prayer was. Now, this next step, I'm going to turn on the graphic for the lessons. Now, it's covering up this transition. And I'm going to peek around the monitor. By the way, always look at the monitor. Always look at the monitor. Because if you can't see what's happening on the monitor, neither can the people at home. Learned that lesson the hard way. So I look over at this is the time where I do peek around the monitor temporarily to see who's coming to the lectern. And I gauge whether they are short, average, or tall. And that just frames it. So I do this. Now, right now, the camera has moved to this position. I can't see it yet because I got to turn this off. So lessons graphic toggle, click it again, turns it off. Boom, there we are. That's the average person. Tall. Short. Now, while the lessons are going on, go on to the next screen. When they're done, we'll have the sequence hymn. It pulls back out. We've got these. And then we do the gospel reading. Now, this has been... it changes seemingly every week. Right now, these are programmed to go to the lectern, which is where they were doing it for a while. Let's say Tom is doing it. Clearly, I would want the tall. But they might not do that. So let's say we're in this sequence hymn. I'm going to go to the last verse here, and I see that they're setting up shop at the altar. Well, I'm just going to hit clean shot to get rid of that. And then I'll come over here and hit altar. There we go. So that clean shot just got rid of all of the graphics, took it off the screen, and then I come pick whichever preset that I want the camera to go to. And then we have sermon. Typically, we'd use tall or short for Tom or Elisa. Obvious which one's which. So let's say Tom is delivering the sermon, comes over here. And there we go. He's preaching the sermon. When he's done, I hit end of sermon. Now, the end of sermon, there's a little bit of downtime between. It's just going to pull back out. Then we do the Nicene Creed. And we go through all of it. This works just like the hymns. It's a little more obvious when you reach the end of a prayer because we got Amen. And then after the creed, I just take off the graphics and keep this wide shot. And then we have prayers of the people. And again, it's coming over here to the lectern. It's going to get somebody tall this time. Then we have the confession. Sometimes it's labeled as the confession. Sometimes it's not. And it's just a single pager. Then we have the absolution. Again, you'll want to watch and make sure that the priest does not wander off to another place. They have the exchange of the peace. Go pull back for a wide shot. Get the whole congregation. And then we have announcements. Typically, they're down here at the rail. Birthdays and anniversaries. Now, this is a wide rail shot. Now, this is an example of a shot that's in a preset, but it's not one of these 9. The camera can hold, I believe, 100 of them. But this particular dock right here inside of OBS, it can only access 9 of them. But I've got more than that stored in there. And behind the scenes, I'm with this Leorin board. There are some Python scripts that are calling it. But these are the ones that are most used. Offertory, just another wide shot. Presentation hymn. And then we go to the Great Thanksgiving. First part, here at the altar. Sing the Sanctus, same deal, go through the slides. Back to the rest of the Great Thanksgiving. We'll have the Lord's Prayer. That just gets overlaid. Right after the Lord's Prayer, there's always a little bit of time where the priest breaks the bread. And then we have a Fraction Anthem. Pull back out. There's the words. Then we do communion. If we have any communion hymns, they'll be in here. Going through that. If the hymns finish before we're done with communion, we got some kind of dead time. Communion continued. Post-communion prayer, back to the altar for that. Then we have the blessing. Then we do our closing hymn. Then we have our dismissal. It pulls down a little bit better shot of the congregation. And then we have the closing voluntary back up. And then when George, or whoever the organist is for this week, is done playing, then we'll hit closing shot. If you can, I like to try to time it if it's obvious when the organist hits the last chord. Not always obvious, depending on the song and how it's arranged. But you just transition to this. It just fades into a nice little closing shot, thanking everyone for joining us in worship. And now it's still streaming at this point, and everyone's seeing that, and they can still hear. Fade and end live stream. Now watch what happens over here. See the record and the live. Boom, they're gone. Now we are not sending a feed to YouTube, and YouTube senses that nothing's being fed, and after a certain amount of time, it'll wait a little bit in case, like the stream went down or something, but it'll shut down the stream. So you don't have to start it. You don't have to end it. The act of OBS sending it a stream will make it start live streaming. YouTube, that is. It'll make YouTube start live streaming. And with OBS ceasing to send it a feed, it will then stop live streaming. Now let me show you something here, just to make sure this is clear. If you get in a situation where it's just, you're not sure where they're going, wide shot, always available. It's always right here. Just like if there's graphics on the screen and you don't want them, clean shot gets rid of it. Clean shot removes the graphics, but does not change the camera position. Whatever position it's in, it doesn't care. The only thing this is doing is removing the graphics. Wide shot, it has nothing to do with graphics. So while I'm here, I'm going to see how I can change the camera position even with the graphics on. They're independent. Now, the wide shot will change the camera position, does nothing to the graphics. So this controls the camera position, this controls the visibility of the graphics. And that's pretty much it. This extra hymn, in case you're wondering, one week when we had the 4th of July, we had an extra hymn tacked on the end, so I just had to add this in. Would be a rare occasion for that to happen. The name cards are available through this screen because really once you get to this point, well, I may add them to the others. You may see them there. But for right now, they're just in those first couple of screens. Hopefully we have identified the priest by then. This guest, right now it's set up for Reverend Don here, because he was here the recently. And that's it. And when you're done, all you got to do, close that, and close this. OBS takes a minute to close. There we are. That's all you got to do. You don't have to do anything else. The video has been recorded. Which we can see right here. There's the one I just recorded of going around here. And this contains all of the video and the audio. Now, one other little piece of advice is always make sure you're receiving audio from the mixer. So back here in OBS, here's the mixer right here. You want to make sure that you're getting something from there. If not, then a couple of things you could. Well, first of all, when it started up, you should have verified that the mixer was being shown as connected. So that should be running. You should be seeing stuff there when you test the microphone. This right here, choir, organ, there is a microphone set up right next to the organ on the right side that is capturing mainly the organ sound. And then the Shure mic on the balcony to the left of the video PC are two mics. Only one of them we're using. That's the Shure mic that's setting up there. And right now it is used to capture the room sound. Hopefully we will be able to switch that out to a better position. But for now, that's where it is. And that should be unmuted. So if for any reason you need to mute that mic next to you, say you need to talk to someone and you don't want it picking you up, you can mute that. Just make sure you unmute it. Leave this open all the time, the choir/organ. And of course, you want to keep this open all the time, unless the person running sound that day forgot to mute somebody who has a mic on them, and you don't want their particular solo going. And that's all. You're basically just walking right through the service from part to part, each step all along the way. And thankfully, due to the nature of the Episcopalian service, it is predictable most times. But the system is hopefully designed to be flexible enough to where you can opt out of it when you need to, change camera positions when you need to, get rid of any graphics when you need to. And the last safety net of it all is clean shot with a wide shot of the room. Yeah, it's not as nice up close, but you're getting the whole thing in. People at home can see stuff. It's not clouded by any graphics. And the important part of all of this first is the audio. The audio is the primary thing to be concerned about, that is coming in, because you could listen to a service and get something out of it. It's a lot harder to just watch a service and get something out of it. So the audio is the primary important. It's the thing of primary importance. That's the word I was looking for, or the phrase. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. I hope this answers enough questions that you can handle running the rig for a week. I don't think it should be that difficult. Like I said, you always got the wide clean shot, if nothing else. Thank you for your service, and good luck.